going to be talking about the importance of competition in your training for your progression. So I think I might piss off a few people with my views, but as always, we'll try to have a good discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed World Championships 2021. Had some great matches, a few upsets, but a lot of the usual suspects I thought were going to win kind of came out on top. And we're seeing that young group, those young guns coming up. So they're just killing it, man, left and right. Gi, no gi, they're good at everything. Let me know if you guys had a favorite match from Worlds. I'll probably tell you mine. They all were pretty good, to be honest. They were all pretty good matches, to be honest. I guess I was most impressed with Mikey. Mikey, 4 times world champion. Man, pretty amazing. Especially coming from an American. And we'll see some more guys in the future. Next 5 years, you're gonna see a lot of changes out there. So we're gonna try to get some more people on the stream, struggle stream. You know how we do it. So we're talking about the importance of competition for your BJJ, for your progression. When I say progression, I mean skill progression, and that could also mean your belt progression as well. And we'll try to, maybe towards the end, if I have time, try to get some people on the live chat, on the live talking portion on Zoom. So if you're interested in talking to me on Zoom, I'll put the link in the chat room, and just go ahead and get your Zoom ready. But it'll be a second before I'm ready for that to come up. So I'm just gonna pin it in the chat room. So yeah, the importance of competition for progression for your BJJ. I don't know what the title was for this video. Pretty much, should you be competing? And if so, how will it help you get better at jiu-jitsu? How is it going to help you progress? So I always suggest students compete. And I know it's tough. I know it's not always easy. I know it's sometimes scary. It's rough. It can be expensive. It can be time consuming. But I am a firm believer in competing for being a part of jiu-jitsu. And it's one of the differences. It's one of the main differences between like traditional martial arts and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So in jiu-jitsu, you just got to compete. I don't know how to sugarcoat it. I can't sugarcoat it. Go out there and compete. A good metric for me that I look for in students is competing at least one time a year. That's good. At least one time per year is good. And say you're like, hey, Alec, I can't do one time per year. At least one time per belt level. You guys can at least do that. And it's just going to keep you honest, man, because, there's some schools out there, they train self-defense, these controlled self-defense movements, and they never use their jiu-jitsu. They probably don't even spar. They're barely doing jiu-jitsu. And so, the tournament is to simulate a confrontation. It's going to simulate the nerves, you being nervous, you dealing with your adrenaline, you dealing with an opponent, someone you don't know, and I think it keeps jiu-jitsu honest. Like, it's the truest test of your jiu-jitsu is, are you able to go out there and, utilize your jiu-jitsu techniques on someone in your same age group, your same weight category, and your same skill category. And, man, I got no cons against competing. Maybe you can say it's too expensive or you're injured or old. But, those are excuses to me, and they don't fly. I'm sure other instructors have, their metrics, their, whatever they use to grade people by. But you can't argue if, like, say I have a student and they're going out there and they're killing white belt divisions. Man, that means they're getting closer to blue belt. Otherwise, it can be kind of tough to measure where someone is. Yeah, man. When I was coming up, it was like, hey, the instructor say, hey, you're signing up for this tournament? You go, okay. And then you went and competed. And I found that now it's harder to do that. You know, I will suggest people compete, and then they're going to give me 100 different excuses. And, you know, honestly, I don't care. I don't care about your excuses. Go out there and compete. Instead of worrying about your belt or your stripe or God knows what else, go out there and show your instructors that you are at that level. You're ready for the next level. You've learned your techniques. You can apply your techniques. It's no different than taking a test, you know, coming up in school. You take tests to measure your development, your progression. The competition's the same thing. And, you know, there's lots of upsides to competing, guys. If somebody wants to, you know, I don't want to say argue, but wants to debate me on that, you can let me know in the chat room or on the Zoom. But otherwise, I'm going to have to say always compete, you know, try and compete as much as you can. You know, one competition a year is doable. If you can do more, awesome. But I don't want to hear anybody whining or complaining about getting a belt stripe or the next belt and they don't compete. Go compete. No excuses. Go compete. And yeah. Let's see. We're trying to get some more guys in here. More people. Sorry, not trying to just say guys. Yeah, competition is important. It's gonna get you used to those nerves, being nervous. It's gonna give you a goal. I think a lot of people train without a goal, you know, which is fine too. You know, it's fun to train. I love training. It's fun. But it does help to have that goal in mind, you know, some type of goal you're trying to reach. That'll help you, you know, just get your mind focused, get your diet focused. It'll just give you something to focus on. You can have a tangible goal, like, hey, I want to place at this Newbury tournament, or this IBJF tournament, or this Naga, or this such and such and such tournament. And I think that's great. It's great to have goals that you can test yourself with. You know, that's a test. You go out there and compete. You're out there by yourself. You know, maybe your coach is on the side, but you got to go out there and represent yourself. So I see nothing but upsides. There might be some downsides I'm forgetting, but, you know, off the top of my head, upsides left and right. I can already feel somebody from Reddit or on the chat room gonna be upset at that. Let me know if you guys can hear this music. I'm gonna play my song again because I'm trying to get hype for you guys. I think it's playing. Let me know if you guys can hear that. yeah, guys, we've been talking about just the importance of competition for BJJ. Uh, I think it's a major part of jujitsu. Like I can't foresee jujitsu without competition. It's so ingrained in the sport, in the martial art, and that's very similar to like wrestling, judo. I feel like judo, does of course it's in the Olympics. Wrestling's in the Olympics. I feel like judo has more of a hobbyist. It's like split between hobbyists and then like full competitors, and then wrestling's like mostly competitors and then fans, and then jiu-jitsu's kind of split. So there's fans of jiu-jitsu, there's competitors, and there's hobbyists. They're all kind of comes together in jiu-jitsu. So uh, I just feel like competition is such an important part of jiu-jitsu because I mean not only is it good for students to get out there and compete, but also we had the World Championships from 2021 last weekend. So the competition is where the moves are tested. We get to see the new moves, the new techniques that are coming up, that are being developed, and you can literally watch a world champion do the move at the tournament, and then the next day go and practice that move. So I think as far as developing jiu-jitsu, like the competitions are the testing grounds for all the techniques we work on. A lot of the techniques I show, they're techniques that I do, or techniques that I learned from competing. And I'm not saying that's always the case. There's competition is a little bit different than training in the academy, because you're gonna do crazier things. You're gonna risk things. You might let something pop or break. You might let that choke go on a little bit longer than normal, right? So I'm all for competing, guys. So I was talking a little bit earlier. If you're whining about belts and stripes, the first thing I'm gonna ask you is, hey, are you competing? Have you done a competition recently? How did you do in a competition? Did you use technique in that competition? And so, we might have like a wrestler start jiu-jitsu at white belt and then like, hey, they just did double legs the whole time. Okay, awesome, but you didn't do any jiu-jitsu. So I think within the competition, your instructors are going to have different measurements that we're looking for. We're not going to treat a hobbyist the same as like a young stud, teenager or kid that's hungry to compete. We're going to be a little bit harder on those kids. And then, of course, the masters. Jiu-jitsu has such a large masters following. Pretty much if you put masters anything, people are going to go and compete in that tournament. And you see it all the time. Masters Worlds, they did a Masters International during the World Championship, and that was pretty packed. So man, you guys love fighting. People that do jiu-jitsu love fighting. That's something I've kind of understood in the last couple of years. Like, man, push people to compete and go out there and leave it on the mats. And it's not always about winning. I think a lot of people put pressure on themselves to win, white belts, blue belts, higher belts. But as an instructor, we just want to see how you react under pressure. We want to see if you utilize the techniques. We want to see how you just deal with that environment, that different environment, that change of your environment, that change of pace. And it can be tough. You might lose your first couple of matches, and that might be rough. How do you handle losing? That's also part of like, jiu-jitsu. How do you handle losing? Are you the type of guy that throws a fit and slams their belt on the floor and is like screaming at the referee? Or are you the kind of guy that, takes it on the chin and, okay, go back to the drawing board, try again? So it really, competition really draws out, or I don't want to say draw. Yeah, it does draw out a lot of like what's inside of you, like how you are as a person, that we can't always see in the training in the gym. So if you guys don't believe, if you have a different argument or you believe differently, let me know in the chat room. We have the Zoom link pinned out there. So if you really want to talk about that topic, I'm going to do it a little bit later. So Cameron Neal says loud and clear. So we had a little bit of music. Hopefully, if I have someone on Zoom, the audio should be okay as well. UFC, NBA, NFL says at a recent competition, many of the guys I roll with competed. It was really interesting watching their matches. It motivates me to compete as well. Yeah, that's how it works. It's kind of infectious. If you have a friend training for a tournament, that kind of will push you to kind of level up a little bit because you're gonna help push them right in the training. And I think it's better if your whole gym does the tournaments. If you do the tournament together as a team, it's like a great bonding experience. It's a great, experience overall when all your boys going to the tournament. You're all ready. You guys are all doing well. I think it's because you're all in that mess together. You gotta stick it through. And man, it's some of my best memories are from doing tournaments. And win or lose, it was fun going out to California with my friends, and we cut weight and we're training hard. And afterwards you get to kind of release together. You get some food, get some carbs, and you're so happy. You get to drink water again. You're so happy. So it's a great experience. And yeah, man, just being out there, it's cool. It's cool just being inside that environment. Even if you didn't compete and say you went to the tournament, man, you get so amped up. You're watching all these matches, these heated matches. You're seeing people, fighting their hearts out. So I enjoy it. It's kind of stressful sometimes, but I do like going out there and watching the matches. I like being out there competing as well. So I'm not just telling you guys to do stuff. Like, I'm not just bossing you guys around. I'll be out there competing too. And hearing people cheer for you, people booing for you, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool experience. But yeah, I think you can't have jiu-jitsu without the competition. It's just a very important part of jiu-jitsu. It's I've been saying it. It keeps you honest. It keeps us honest. As far as the technique, it keeps us honest. As far as like our egos, keeps you honest. Because sometimes you're gonna lose, and it might be on flow grappling. It might be embarrassing, but you're gonna get through it. And it's such a part of the culture. Watching the World Championships, watching ADCC, watching all these tournaments, watching Fight to Win, watching EBI, whatever you watch, it's kind of part of jiu-jitsu. You watch the tournament, and then the next day or the weekend you go and train it, and then everybody's talking about it, right? So yeah, I mean, if you're not competing, you're doing yourself a disservice, because the competition is just gonna help you get better. To be honest, it's just gonna sharpen up your techniques. It's gonna help your timing, help how you deal with stress, adrenaline, nerves. It's gonna keep your mind focused. You get so focused on that goal of doing that tournament. So yeah, I think it's just gonna help you. Cameron Neil says, compete at natural weight or weight cut. Depends on your body. If you have a lot of fat to lose, okay, maybe you can lose some weight. Probably, you should always aim for a natural weight, and depending on your body fat, try to lose weight the right way by cutting calories slowly, eating clean, doing cardio and conditioning, weight training. Yeah, do it the right way. I mean, sometimes I say weight cuts for professionals only. If you make your living doing jiu-jitsu or some other fighting sport, okay, maybe you gotta last second notice. Hey, they give me a call. I got a week to lose 5 pounds. Okay, I need to start sweating. But if you're a regular guy, you just doing this for fun. Do your weight class, your natural weight class. If you feel like, hey, I can't make the cut, because that's only going to add stress to your life. So we want to minimize the stress, because the tournament's already stressful. So, sometimes I'll have the person go up to the next weight class if they're having trouble making weight. And, that's also part of the tournament. You deal with people stronger than yourself. You're going to fight somebody and then you can't break their grips. They're going to feel like a gorilla. So that's part of doing jiu-jitsu and competing. It's gonna humble you because there's so many strong people out there. You don't realize, hey, this is some real stuff out here. So I will suggest you don't bring your wife or girlfriend or whatever to the tournaments just in case. Unless you're a stud, you got this in the bag. Otherwise, don't bring your girl there because you don't want to be getting embarrassed out there. But yeah, I don't think you can have jiu-jitsu without the tournament experience. It's just a part of it. It's obviously as you get older, it's a little bit tougher. But man, these masters competitors. So masters in jiu-jitsu means over 30 athlete. So these masters guys compete a lot, man. They're out here competing almost more than these young guys. So I don't want to hear any excuses. You got wife and kids. You can make a way to carve out a few hours to go do that tournament. One thing I will suggest, say you're like, hey, Alec, these tournaments are too expensive. I can't do them. There's not a tournament near me. In-house tournament. So that's a great way to change up your training, or maybe do like inter-school tournament between two schools. That's kind of cool. If that's not possible, one thing I used to do in Sweden when I taught out in Sweden, or we used to do, it wasn't just me that would do this. We would do like simulated matches. So, at the end of training, we would grab two guys, maybe two lower belts and kind of put them together to go at it. And so it's different when you're rolling and nobody's watching and you're kind of chilling versus like, all right, we're going to be counting the points. We're going to be on a timer with the referee and everybody's coaching you or cheering for you. So that will kind of add that tournament experience, like a simulation of the tournament experience. And you're going to see like even like doing that like simulated match in your school, it like, man, it gets amped up pretty quickly. Because people, most people don't go all out all the time. But then if you add like that competition aspect to it, they go like, they go up to the next level. So it's kind of cool. I like experiencing that. It's kind of fun. Competing also tells you, it teaches you about the rule sets, different rule sets. Usually I get ready for rule sets only when I'm competing because there's a way you roll in training and then there's a way you roll when you're getting ready for certain tournaments. There might be certain rules for your belt level. For example, white belts can't jump guard. They can't do wrist locks. I think you got to check that out for me. But usually there's going to be some limitations on your techniques when you're competing. So it's good to learn the different rule sets and just keeps you sharp, man. But yeah, we've talked a lot about the importance of competition. I say do it, always do it. If you're complaining about your belt stripe, your belt, go compete. Go show your instructors that you're at that next level. Trying to think of some other stuff. That's basically it. Go compete, guys. Go compete. You don't need me to. I'm gonna keep saying the same thing. Go compete. But somebody's gonna be in the chat room like, but Alec, what if they, I can't compete? My wife said I can't compete. But yeah, it's so important, guys. I'm gonna put some more music on. Put my music on. This might be some pass on for. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. We got Cameron Neal says, "Can you expound on what makes a good blue belt?" I think he spoke on it earlier today. Yeah. So I reposted a video of we were talking about triangles from closed guard, but pretty much, I mean, it depends on the instructor. But for me, I know a white belt's ready to get their blue belt when I see them, specifically for me, when I see them starting to do that triangle from closed guard or open guard consistently on, other white belts, and then maybe starting to threaten the other blue belts and purple belts. Uh, it's all very subjective. It depends on the person. So instructors, we don't usually have the same grading scale for everybody. If you're over 30, or 30 is still young. If you're like in your 50s, of course we're gonna adjust the kind of like the belt requirements for you. Versus say you're like, you know, say you're like 17 or 18, man, you're gonna have to compete. You want to get your blue belt, you're gonna have to compete at that age and do well. You'd be winning, placing at these tournaments, regional, local, and then regional, maybe national tournaments. It's like I said, it's very subjective. I know when I'm rolling with the blue belt, but what I might think of a blue belt might be different than what your instructor thinks is a blue belt level. Um, See, a blue belt, it could be. It doesn't have to be exactly a triangle. You're like Alex said, it has to be. Yeah, you gotta do triangle. But you at least need to be able to do some type of submission at will. Against a resisting opponent. And then blue to purple, that is a big gap. I think we don't talk about the gaps in belts so much. I think people just think, okay, I got my blue belt. Okay, when do I get my purple belt? Um, I think at purple belt you've already kind of developed your own style. Blue belt. Hopefully you have a strong foundation of strong foundation of the basics. Purple belt, you're using more advanced techniques, more advanced guard techniques. If you I kind of talked about earlier, if you have a white belt that wrestled and all they did was double legs, awesome, cool. Use some guard now. So at purple belt, you should be using more advanced guard techniques. Specifically in the gi, you should be having knowledge on most of the positions from De La Hiva. Open guards. Like kind of the modern game. You should have like somewhat of a good understanding of guard attacks, guard sweeps. You should be making sport of the white belts and blue belts. You should be hanging with the purple belts. Say you're the blue belt, you should be making sport of white belts and other blue belts. Hanging with the purple belts, hanging with the brown belts a little bit, maybe catching those guys, giving the black belts a hard time. Um, start experimenting a lot. I know when someone's getting to the purple belt level when they start experimenting. I'm seeing they got the foundation really strong. Now they're experimenting with different techniques, and they're able to use technique. They're not just forcing the moves; they're using technique. Um, they the guy, you say, okay, again, the guy's a blue belt. He's doing well at the blue belt tournaments. He's placing, he's catching people at blue belt. He's utilizing technique. Giving the higher belts a hard time. And yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And some of the belts, you can grow into. Um, I say for me, blue to purple is when you get your swag. White belt, you kind of awkward. Blue belt, you kind of not refined. Purple belt, like it's starting to click. Your jiu-jitsu starting to click. You're starting to connect things. You're able to do things at will. You're able to set up your submissions. You're able to set up your passes. Um, yeah, again, it's very subjective because an AOJ purple belt might not be whatever your talent is purple belt. But I've always had that standard of whatever belt I would give someone, they can go to AOJ, they could go to Marcelo's, they could go to Atos, they could go wherever, and they can hang with those people at that same belt level. So that's kind of the standard I kind of always held myself on. And so it is a tough standard. Not everybody can live up to that. It's rough. It's rough. I, I don't know. I just it's gonna sound harsh, but I don't think everybody's meant to be like getting belts left and right. Like you got to earn these belts, and I feel like you need to have the skills behind these belts. Like awesome, cool. You've been training a long time, cool. But I've seen black belts, guys get their black belts, and like, man, they weren't really good. Like they were never really good or tough. They just stuck around. Uh, I would not give that person a black belt right now. Maybe I might sing a different tune if I have a school or I get older. But right now, I would keep that person at the level that they thought they were at, and you know, I would try to help them develop their techniques, develop their timing, develop their whatever they need to work on. Um, yeah, sometimes just maturity too. Sometimes you're a blue belt, you just gotta. It just takes time to mature to the next belt. It takes time for you to develop your techniques to the next level. Um, Again, if you're thinking about, say you're a blue belt, you're like, man, when am I ready for my purple belt? Go compete, man. Go out there, compete. Go tear up the blue belt division. Show your instructor that, hey, you're ready for the next belt. I'm seeing that more often nowadays, especially in competition. The students aren't being held back as much. When I was coming up, I had to like place and win purple belt worlds like 2 times before I like got to the next belt. So it was a little rough back in the day, but it's getting better. Um, but yeah, we've been talking about the importance of competition. I'm 100% for competition if you can compete. One thing that the World Pro does, they have like the disabled division. So, maybe you're missing a leg or an arm. They've been able to get matches for those people despite their disabilities. So that's been amazing. There's age grouping for everybody. There's masters. However old you are, there's somebody for you to fight. There's kids divisions. They're adding more juvenile higher belt levels. So that's cool too. Let's see. Danny Cruz says, I don't care about belts. I just care about getting better. I mean, I have black belt. That's pretty much all there is. I ain't getting I'm not getting another belt for a long time. So you just kind of chill out, enjoy the training, work on your techniques. There's nothing cool at black belt. We're just chilling, man. Just chill. And Danny Cruz also said, belt doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, it is an achievement. I think the belt is an achievement. But I feel like people put too much value into it. Because look at guys like Cole Abbott, look at the Rotullo twins. Man, they're already black belt levels, right? Everybody can agree they're already at a black belt level. I mean, it feels good for them to be black belt now for the other guys. So now I'm not getting my butt kicked by a purple belt or a blue belt or whatever. That's awesome. But they have the skills. That's the most important part, guys. That's what I want you guys to understand and take away from this. They have the skills. They have the black belt skills. They're able to use the black belt techniques. They're beating black belts. And also realize it takes time to get to this point. Rotullo twins been training for 15 years. They're super young, but they've been training for 15 years. Mikey's super young, but he was training for like 15, 20 years. So don't rush it, guys. Just compete, train hard, train smart, use your resources at your hands. Yeah, go compete, guys. I'm gonna keep. I think I said about 50 times. I'm gonna say another 50 times. Go compete. I don't want to hear you complaining. I don't want to hear about, oh, what if I'm a white belt and I want to get my blue belt? I'm a blue belt and I want to get my purple belt. I don't care. Go compete. You guys could tell I was pretty tough on my students. Had beat them into shape. Let's get some more music on for a little bit. see. We had Richard. He says, I'm 37 and older than most people at my gym, but I can still hang a little bit with the younger guys. I like to compete someday against people my age. Yeah, buddy. 37, you're still young. I'm 32. 33 next year. You're still young, man. Don't worry. Masters 2, I think. I think your Masters 2. Man, Masters 2 stacked. You know, Masters 1 is stacked. You know Masters 1 is stacked when you see like the Meow Brothers. You go there, oh, Meow Brother in my Masters division. Yeah. Old guys go compete, young guys go compete. I'm still waiting for somebody to come up here and say, but I don't have to compete. You know, I just got my blue belt online. Their online blue belt's going to beat the real life blue belt, guys. It's kind of, the online blue belt. That online blue belt's going to beat the real life blue belt. I mean, there's no belts in Nogi, guys. We just go out there and fight. Just protect your joints. That's all I had to say. Protect your joints. Watch out for those heel hooks. Yeah, people focus too much on the belts. Too much. I mean, I'm a black belt now. But there was a time where I wasn't a black belt, and I just had to struggle at whatever belt I was at, and just keep training and put in that time. We say the belt only covers 2 inches of your butt, man. 2 inches. And I'd much rather have the skill. I'd much rather have the skill. Say I wasn't a black belt, I was a brown belt or a purple belt. I'd much rather have the skill of a black belt than to have the reverse. The reverse would be having a black belt without the skill. So I mean, the skill. What is the saying? The truth is in the pudding. The truth is in the tasting of the pudding. DN Guy 19 says, I started 6 months ago and had my first competition. Learned so much conditioning, technique, etc. Yeah. And he's 41. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, when you go and compete, especially those first few tournaments, it's like the hyperbolic time chamber. It's just going to level you up in like no time. One tournament could be like 6 months of training in one day. So it can really level you up. And Cameron Neal says 39. Got the old guys on here. I'm old too then. The tournament really brings out your best. It brings out the best of your focus, the best of your timing, the best of your conditioning, the best shape. It's going to really bring out the best of you, And, man, the best feeling is when you prepared properly, 8 to 12 weeks before your tournament, you're conditioned, you're strong, you made weight, and man, you go out there and do well. That is the best feeling. It feels the best. DN Guy 19 says, haha, I love the Dragon Ball analogy. It's true, man. You go out there, compete, your focus. Look at, most anime, Dragon Ball Z, they always have a tournament arc, right? Where there's always like a tournament event. There's always like the big fight. There's always like that bad guy they got to beat. The tournament's the same way. It just gives you that focus. It gives you that goal. And you go out there, and man, when you do well, when you put everything into something and you do well, it feels great. Even if you lose, you're like, man, I put everything out. I left everything out on the mat. So, I respect everybody that steps out on the mat. Even when you're nervous, I respect that person the most that's nervous and scared or throwing up before the match, and they go out there and still compete. Man, that's amazing. DN Guy 19 says, how far in advance do you typically train? Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a professional or you want to become professional, you should be training all the time. But specifically, like, geared towards a tournament, like 8 to 12 weeks, we could do like a training camp. A lot of these guys before Worlds, before ADCC, 2 months almost, they go and compete or go and train and focus. They're training hard. They step their training up. They start doing more takedowns. They start doing more simulated tournament events. They really start pushing themselves harder than normal. So yeah, 8 to 12 weeks is ideal. 4 weeks, kind of pushing it. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Sometimes you only got 2 weeks. If you only got 2 weeks, hope you're in good shape. Don't try to cut weight if you only got 2 weeks. Danny Cruz says, well, DN Guy 19, also most tournaments, part of competing is having a tournament schedule. So, you should map out your tournaments a few months in advance. And, that's why, ADCC, they let you know, okay, the trial's going to be April, blah, blah, blah. IBJF, they have like a tournament schedule, so you can kind of plan in advance what you need to do and where you need to be. So, I try to plan my tournaments in advance. I probably do maybe ideally 4 tournaments a year, sometimes more, sometimes less. But I get my calendar and I go, okay, this tournament, that tournament. Okay, this is the big tournament I need to get ready for. This is the big one. So we call that periodization. So I'll use the other tournaments to kind of slowly push myself into the best shape for the main tournament. And also we use the tournaments to like experiment. I go into a tournament and sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this new guard. I'm gonna try this new takedown. I'm gonna try this new guard pass. So I'll use the tournament as a testing ground. Usually the easier tournaments, the more local ones. Your Nagas, your New Breeds, your local, regional IBJF tournaments. And then the big ones are the ones where you need to be sharp, strong. You need to be ready. Danny Cruz says, gotta work on my guard passing. I'm way too comfortable on bottom. Yeah, when you go compete and you got a Tynan, you got an AOJ guy, or Atos guy just buzzsawing through your guard, you gotta be like, man, I need to work on this. So, when you're competing, you see your weaknesses, you see the holes in your game. So, you can get comfortable on bottom if you're super good on bottom, but if you're not super good on bottom, you probably should be attacking the other person before they can attack you. Timothy Ortel says, I'm late, but good evening, everyone. What's up, man? We got a few people on the stream. Guys, also got the Zoom link at the top. We'll see if I can get somebody on the Zoom today. I don't even know if my audio's connected, but we'll see. So yeah, we've been talking about the importance of competition for BJJ. I pretty much say everybody compete. Go compete, guys. Go compete. Timothy Ortel says, my 11-year-old son has about a 9 to 10 week mini camp with privates for his first comp in February. Yeah, that kid's gonna be ready. He's gonna be tearing it up. And you've seen these kids nowadays, man. These kids are good. Look at all the kids on AOJ. These kids are gonna be good. So yeah, prepare yourselves. Help prepare him so he can do well. The worst thing you can do is not prepare for these tournaments and just go flying blind. Especially starting out. If you're more advanced, you've been around, okay, maybe you can do that. If you're competing every weekend, then you just kind of, it all becomes a blur. But if you want to do well, so prepare yourself, start eating healthy, start game planning your tournament techniques, getting focused and the right mindset, cardio. You guys be going out here competing and your cardio is bad. I got to get some sound effects, but you guys got to have good cardio before you go out there and compete and be gassing out in 5 minutes. Don't be gassing out in 5 minutes, guys. Yeah, you blow all your energy in that 30 seconds, 5 minutes. You're like, I'm dead. I'm on the side trying to coach you. Like, come on. And you're just dead on the side. Got guard passed about 5 times, 10 times. Timothy Ortel says, I love bottom as well until the 225 pounders start smash passing. Hey, yo, those big boys, all they want to do is smash you, bro. They just, God forbid you let them get to your side. You ain't getting out. The big boy ain't gonna let you out. It can be rough, One thing I didn't talk about is the absolute division. So that is something unique to jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, we have weight classes, so you compete in your weight class. You compete in your age division. You compete in your skill division, which is your belt level. And then we have the absolute class, which is unique to jiu-jitsu. It is to decide who is the best at that belt level. And, you could have any weight class in that group. And that can be pretty rough. You might be 150 pounds going against a 300 pounder. So, yeah, as you go up in belts, like the ranking, it's harder for the small guys to do the absolute, but white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, you might have a smaller guy beat some of these big guys. So that's kind of cool. And you don't see that in any other grappling sport. You don't see that in wrestling, judo, sambo. They're not crazy enough for that kind of thing. But in jiu-jitsu, we want to see who the best guy is. And we just want to see this crazy matchup. So that's awesome, man. That's part of, you can only do that in a jiu-jitsu tournament. Some other upsides to competing in jiu-jitsu is the rule sets. Sometimes the rule set allows you to do more things than other grappling sports. So in wrestling, there's limitations. In judo, there's a lot of limitations. They change the rules every week. But in jiu-jitsu, we're able to utilize a lot of different techniques. Almost every technique from wrestling, judo, sambo, we can do it in jiu-jitsu. And definitely no-gi, we can almost do everything in no-gi. Some no-gi tournaments, there's like 4 rules. So it's kind of cool. It can be a little wild sometimes, but again, prepare. Use the time before the tournament to prepare for the rule set. And yeah, we've been talking a lot about the importance of competition. It's super important, guys. I think I said about 60 times already. Compete. Go compete. You should compete. Why aren't you competing? Put some music on. Let's see. We got some. Danny Cruz says bottom guard them and Timothy Ortel. I find it effective. I like going for shoulder clamp butterfly sweep, the same sweep Gordon did on BJJ in the ADCC final. I mean, I don't know how big Timothy is. If he's like 100 pounds and you're like, hey, just shoulder clamp the 225-pound guy, that could be kind of rough. You guys got to remember Gordon is big, Buchecha's big. They on the acai. So sometimes you think you're going to sweep these guys and that sweep don't work. But yeah, you can try that. I prefer more open guard game to keeping the big guy off of me. Or, hey, don't play, or I'd scare somebody. Or don't play guard on the big guy. Try to take him down. Try to gas him out. Timothy Ortel says, watching Mikey Musumeci beat the 300-pounder is what inspired my son to compete for the first time. Yeah, man, that's amazing when you see matches like that, because like to a layman, to someone that doesn't understand jiu-jitsu, they're gonna be like, hey, that's big guy's obviously gonna win. And then when the small guy wins, you're like, oh my god, the small guy won. And you see the crowd goes, just crazy. Jeffrey Kwong says, scared the out of me when the music hit. Sorry, buddy. I'll turn it down for you next time. I'm so happy I got my audio working. Got my audio working, so it's not there you go, still playing. Got my audio working, so I've been showing off. Timothy Ortel says 6 foot, 170, 185 when I'm in shape. Yeah, it's rough, man. I mean, you're pretty 6'1", sorry, or 6 foot. Yeah, get pretty big, but when you go against someone 225 plus, sometimes stuff ain't working, bro. They strong. They strong. You trying to sweep them, your legs not budging. You got a lanky build. Yeah, I'm trying to use my guard to keep those guys off. Nicholas Margali versus Victor Hugo. Perfect example. Margali's not the biggest guy. He's big, but he's not super big. But he's able to utilize his open guard very well to attack, keep these big guys off of him. And Timothy Ortella says he's the smallest kid in his school, one of the youngest. Yeah, I mean, sometimes these small kids fight really hard. I had a student, Dave. He's out in Cal. Where are you at, Dave? I think it's Cal State. I have to ask him. I forget what school he's at. But Dave was like the smallest kid, but man, he had the most fight in him. So I had to calm Dave down sometimes. Like, Dave, calm down. Some bigger kid would kind of pick on Dave, and I'm like, Dave, calm down. And Dave was like, I'm gonna kill him. So yeah, these small kids be pretty rough sometimes. Sometimes they fight the hardest, man. Timothy Ortel says, for sure, it is what it is. Guys, I got about 7 minutes. Again, I got the Zoom chat open. It's kind of empty today, so I'm not going to force it. But yeah, we've done a lot. Talked a lot about the importance of competition. Go compete. You should compete. Why aren't you competing? Yeah, I'll say it over and over. I'm going to try and stick with Wednesdays. Still trying to get more turnout. It's been pretty rough so far. I'm calling it my struggle stream. But we'll try to grow it some more. I think Wednesday nights, maybe Thursday night, I'm still aiming for. And yeah, just want to get more I don't want to say activity. More, what's the word I'm looking for, guys? I can't think of it. More something. More interaction. Yeah, more interaction. That's the word I was looking for. And we'll try. We'll see how it goes. I've been doing, I think I've been doing live streams since October or November, maybe November. So I want to keep it up for a few more months and see how it's working before I try to add more, more live streams or anything like this. So if you guys want to see more live streams like this, make sure you're sharing it with your friends. Make sure you're tuning in when you can. Ukuleletron, I think I'm saying that right. He says competing in absolute as a rooster weight tips. Be Mikey Musumeci or somebody like that. Be super technical. If you're a rooster weight, a great guy to watch is the Giant Slayer. Is that the kid's name? He's got some cool matches. He is a rooster weight, and he be fighting out there. He be fighting. And I think he does better against bigger people versus guys his weight class. Because sometimes when you're that small, you can just like move around bigger people. You can really small people give me a hard time. Really big people give me a hard time, and really small people. So if you're on those extremes, man, it's rough. Otherwise, you gotta be very skilled, very very technical. You're probably gonna need a very good guard as a rooster weight, beating higher belts, bigger guys, bigger people in absolute division. Yeah, bro. You can do it, but you need to be good. And when I say good, you need to be competing, guys. Go out there and compete so you can get good to this level. I feel like the only way to get to this level is to be competing, be going against the best guys that you can, and pushing yourself. That's the only way. Danny Cruz says, I don't compete as much because I don't feel 100%. My fingers are messed up, so can't grip as much. And I've been having knee problems. LOL. These weren't the case. I love to go out there. Yeah. I will say most times you're not going to be 100%. Honestly, most people out there have some injury. Fingers, knees, shoulders, back, low back, cervicals, spine, toes, something. Everybody's got something going on. Don't try to always feel like 100%, just do what you can. If obviously this is a hobby for you. I'm not going to push you too hard. I'm going to say compete still. But try to get your body up and running first before you go out there. Um, but otherwise, yeah, you're not always gonna feel 100%. If you can be 75%, 80%, that might be pretty good. I hope to be 80%. But yeah, man, keep going, man. Those memes where the instructor, the students like in a cast, full body cast, and the instructor's like, "Hey, you gonna go train tomorrow? You coming to training tonight?" That's how I am. Obviously, listen to your body, but if you can compete, go compete. Paul Phoenix says, "Whew, what did I miss?" Yeah, you missed the whole live stream, but it will be on YouTube, so you guys can always watch it back. Again, I'm trying to get more interaction. The last couple of live streams, it's been kind of quiet. But we're gonna try to get some people on the Zoom call. I'm tapping out today, but maybe next time. The only time I get people to really interact with me is when we talk about belts, we talk about belt promotions, something controversial. So maybe that's what I gotta stick with. Stick to controversial topics where you guys are like, I hate you. Like people are just ready to like come at me. Timothy Ortel says your competitors likely aren't at 100% either. Yeah, nobody's at 100%. We all jacked up, man. We all jacked up. Some of these guys are on some good acai or whatever, but they still jacked up. uh, yeah, guys, I think that's it for my stream. Hope you guys enjoyed this Wednesday. I've been consistently on Wednesdays, right? I think for the last 2 months, I've been consistent on Wednesdays. I'm not sure if Wednesday's the best day. I'm not sure if this is the right time. You guys can always let me know in the chat what works best for you guys. I have people in different time zones. Impossible for me to get to everybody. But if you're on the East Coast, I feel like this is the best time. It's like right after training. You probably ate dinner. You're kind of calming down. You're trying to cool down a little bit. So, we'll keep testing the live stream, see how it works. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoy your Wednesday. Get ready for Thursday. Get back to training. And that's it, guys. Take care. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace.